And we are now live with Barry Shore. I'm really hoping that we're here. It looked like I connected correctly. It says we're live streaming. Barry Shore, welcome to the Long Life Era Group. We're so happy to have you here with us.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, and little beings, and good-looking people. Now, wonderful Marla. How can I
Oh,
make a categorical statement that all the hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that are watching and will watch this wonderful program are all good-looking? Because by definition, if they tuned into Long Life Better, it means they're always looking for and finding the good in life. That's the best way to live your life to the full.
I heard
Looking
that.
for and the good in life, then you're a good looking person. As you
I
are,
heard that. I heard that as the opening line of your podcast, which is, I know you're good looking. And how do I know that? I'm thinking, how does he know that? Because if you are looking for good, you are good looking. And I do want to say that, and I'm sure that you could go on and pontificate about this statement for a very long time, but people look as they think. If they are, thinking negative thoughts and thinking energetic hatred or what it shows all over your face. Don't you agree with that?
we all look, we are generational people. We love this whole idea of aura, right?
Yes.
I mean, I grew up with the music from Hair. Hello.
Well, you lost your
Are that
hair, or you
we are
keep
the
your hair.
generation of looking and understanding that we are a soul encased in a body.
Yes.
Your soul is looking for goodness and finding goodness and nourishing goodness. And guess what happens? You exude it. You bring forth a radiance. Again, look at Marla. Marla is not only a beautiful woman, she is a bountiful, beautiful, beneficent, munificent, magnificent woman. Why? Primarily because she is out there sharing with other people her goodness. Now, share, by
Right.
the way, is a wonderful acronym. I work
Oh,
I work with the three fundamentals of life, Marla. The three fundamentals are number one, life has purpose. That's right, your life has purpose. If you
everyone's life
lead
has
a
purpose.
purpose-driven life, number two happens. Now, in this case, good number two. You lead a purpose-driven life, you go mad. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental of life is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Example, we're talking about right now, this particular interaction is being carried over the internet, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people all over the country that are watching it, and if
All over
anybody
the
can
world.
go watch it, so it's carried over the internet. Ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, they'll say it has to do with the internet, right? However, in our world, Marla, the world of the
It
talk radio,
stands for what a wonderful world.
woo, I told you she's beautiful and she's positive. What a wonderful world.
I just wanted you to know I did research too.
And of course, the tip of the hat and a beautiful thank you to Satchmo, Louis Armstrong,
Yes.
enabling that song to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, billions of people on the planet. When you hear the words, the opening words of "What a wonderful world," what do
It
you do?
does. You smile, right?
Smile, you can't help it. Now, smile is one of the most important words you could ever integrate, utilize, and leverage in your life. Because smile stands for, I want to talk about this at length if you allow us. Smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day.
Which I love. Which I love. I just saw three happen within my life in 2 weeks, in a 2 week period of time. Amazing.
Yes, and what a way to live. Seeing miracles in life every day. I'll give you an example. Class. It just happened recently, Marla. I am privileged to speak to a lot of people, both on the web and doing podcasts like this, and in person. Recently, I spoke here in Nevada. We had 1,127 people in the audience. And I'm
Right.
telling people the story about Barry Shore. I'm talking about seeing miracles in life every day. And of course, some people always raise their hand and say, "Hey, Barry Shore, I've been out for hours where I haven't seen any miracles." And I asked them, "Are you here? Can you
Mhm,
hear? Can you stand
mhm.
still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water, drink? You have food to eat, a place to sleep? You have family, you have friends?" Every single one of those is a miracle. And the simplest proof that those are all miracles is the following. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why?
Right.
They died.
Right.
By definition, if you're watching or you're listening, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full. We are of age. We are all old enough to understand that when life happens for you, not to you, happens for you, you now have an obligation to share that with other people. Share is one of the most beautiful acronyms you could ever learn because it stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy.
That's wonderful. I want to just share with you that we have a lot of people who've popped on. I've been over here. I pardon the side of my face for a minute or two, but I needed to connect everybody and their comments. So my mother is here watching. Lisa Dell is here and it gave us a wave. Steve Lewis is here and he says enjoying the interview.
Yay,
And
Steve Lewis, yay,
yeah,
mom, yay,
yeah,
Lisa.
yeah, yeah. And Lisa's here. So, as we talk about smile, so seeing miracles happen, SMI, what does the I stand for? Seeing
See,
miracles in life every day, right? Seeing miracles in life every day. Let's talk about one morning that you woke up, the day was perfect like any other day, and by sunset, you were in the hospital. And
right.
tell us about that.
Okay, so imagine everybody, if you can, but this is tough to imagine. I'm standing up, like Marla just said, I get up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. That's the line from Superman, of course. And that evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed, my neck down. And it was not from an automobile accident, and it wasn't a spinal injury. It was a rare disease, which I never heard of the day before. It takes over my body and renders me what's called a quadriplegic. So
Oh
those
my
of us
God.
who know,
And what was the name of that disease, Barry, just so everybody
it's
knows?
called Guillain-Barré syndrome. G as in George, B as in Barry, S as in Samuel, GBS for the cognoscenti. Just so you can look it up. It's just took over my body and rendered me completely paralyzed. I could only
How
communicate.
rare is it or how common is it?
Common, one out of every 200,000 people in the
Oh,
country.
wow. Wow.
Not a
And
lot.
did they diagnose it immediately or did it take a while?
So I am blessed to tell you a number of
Mhm.
miracles happened in the course of the next 24 hours. So I'll just tell you basically what happened is I had just come back from being overseas with my son. At the time he was 17. We were actually in Israel for 5 weeks, bonding and all that sort of stuff, father and son. I only have one son, one child, so it was a great trip. Came back, a little tired. And when I got up in the morning, I was in the synagogue that day because it happened to be what's called Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year.
Mhm.
And I came home just like everybody else. I had a little bit to eat. I told my wife just going to take a little nap before I go back, and went to take a nap. Sat, laid down, beautiful. Got up out of bed, stood up, and fell down. I said, "Well, that's odd. I don't feel like I'm 55 years old. I'm in beautiful health. I don't fall down. I fainted essentially. I managed to get up, get dressed, walk to the front of the house, sat in this like our beautiful leather chair in the front of the house, and Marla, I never moved again. That
And
could
you were back from Israel at that time.
I was back from we were back home. We're
Yeah.
living in Venice Beach, California. It was
Uh-huh.
20 years ago. And I called up to my son. His name is Ezra. I said, Ezra, Papa can't move. Hello. What do you mean you can't move? I can't move. So he ran to the shore, which is not far from us. And he got a friend of mine who was also a cardiologist and came in. He looked at me and he has a wry sense of humor. He says, you don't look so good. I can't move. I had no idea what my face looked like. But he called his brother, who's also a physician. It was my PCP, primary care physician. And his brother said, get him to the hospital and I'll meet you there. And
What hospital in the LA area did you go to?
this was St. John's,
St. John's.
right in the west side. It's amazing. In the west side of Los Angeles, you can't throw a stone and not hit a hospital or a Jewish doctor or any kind of doctor. It's wonderful. It's really a blessing. And they were able to diagnose this. Now, again, by this time, I'm completely paralyzed. Now I told my wife and my son, because those days we didn't have Uber, right? So called a taxi, took me to the hospital. I told my wife, my son, I'm sure I'll be home after Sabbath, right? Because who's going to be paralyzed the rest of their lives? Hello, they
Mm.
got me in the hospital, checked me in. Again, I'm not moving. The doctor came in. His name is Dr. Cars, and looks at me, puts me in, gives me some sedative, and the next thing I know is the morning, and I had this amazing voice in my ear in the morning. I had no idea what it was. I opened my eyes. I could see a clock actually. It was 8. So I surmised that it was 8 in the morning because I'd been through the night. I couldn't move. I had a voice in my ear, Marl, that said, Mr. Shore, my name is Dr. So-and-so. If you can hear me and understand what I'm saying, can you blink your eyes once for yes and twice for no? So I blinked my eyes. I couldn't move. Nothing was happening. Couldn't
And you
speak.
couldn't speak either?
I, no, so I blinked my eyes. She said, you have something very serious. I have to run tests. It could be fatal. So are you with me? Blink once for yes and twice for no. I blinked. Actually, she said later, she told me, she said, you didn't stop blinking, but okay, I blinked. And they started running tests. Thank God within a little bit of time, they were able to diagnose what it is, which is, again, Guillain-Barré syndrome.
By the
And
way, if you can't hear her, then how can you know to blink no twice?
so how do you know what?
If you couldn't hear her, how could you have known to blink twice for no?
You know, like she said, if you can hear me. I said, I told her, yes, I could hear you.
Yeah,
Right.
funny.
I couldn't,
Anyway,
I wouldn't have done anything.
right, I know, but it's funny.
But I must
Anyway,
tell you, Marla, at that point, because people ask me often, I say, weren't you scared? When did that? I wasn't even frightened because I had no idea what was going on. I'd never been
right,
paralyzed before. Hello.
right, yeah.
And so now running tests and they found out what it was. Now there's no cure for this. It is what it is. It's a autoimmune disease. So I have a
Similar to anything that you can identify?
no,
Nothing.
nothing. You just everybody is susceptible to something. It's on the same spectrum as things like lupus or MS.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are all, and this attacks the autonomic nervous system. Basically, again, I'm just a quadriplegic, and nothing in the body moved, and nothing was going to move for a while. I was 144 days in hospital. I was
Wow.
2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't move. I was 4 years in a wheelchair. I
Mm.
had braces on both my legs from my hips to my ankles, and that was progress. Thank God today I am vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. It's all because of that one word. Smile.
Wow.
Seeing
Yeah.
miracles in life every day.
So let's talk about your mindset. Let's talk about your mental attitude for the 144 days you were in the hospital and until you were actually able uh, to do this. I do need to help somebody who's trying to find us while you give this answer. But tell me about your mindset, and you're going to see me look down because I need to tell this person where we're at, where she can find us live. So go ahead.
Well, I'm about to tell people things that they're going to find difficult to hear. However, it's wonderful to hear these things. People ask me often, weren't you frightened? Weren't you scared? Were you depressed? So I'm going to answer you with a simple word and tell you a quick story. The simple answer is no. I was not angry. I was not depressed. And I was not even scared.
Because you didn't know to be?
I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea. I'll tell you an interesting event that happened. So it was within the first 2 weeks of being in the hospital. I was in 3 different hospitals, being moved around after a while. In this particular situation, I was about 2 weeks in this hospital, and there was a male nurse that I had, and he'd been with me already 4 days in a row, and he was wheeling me back to the room. Now, again, when we're talking about wheeling, I'm on a gurney because I can't move. I'm
Right.
back.
And you can't turn your head from side to side.
Nothing. I could barely move my head. Couldn't nothing else in the body move. So this nice fellow male nurse. He stops the gurney. He leans down and he says to me, Mr. Shore, can I ask you a personal question? Now, by this time, already a couple of weeks, I could speak above whisper. So he asked me, can I ask you a personal question? I said, yes. He said, this is what I do for a living. I'm a nurse. I work specifically with people who are paralyzed. I need to know, how come you're not bitter and angry? I've never met anybody in your situation that's not bitter and angry. And I realized, Marla, at that point, that he was asking me the great existential question of life, which is, why me, God? Why did you do this to me? That's not the question I was asking. I was asking, God, I'm just a regular guy. What am I supposed to do now? I had no idea if I was going to move again, ever going to speak again, anything. I had no idea. And I can tell you something, Marla, at that point, full surrender, I was at the most peace that I've been in 55 years on the planet.
Because why? Because you surrender to the idea that you might die or you might not.
I had no idea what was going on in life. I had no control, nothing, no idea what was going to happen. To be standing up in the morning, paralyzed in the evening, I'm in a place where I have no idea what's going on, complete surrender.
Mm-hmm.
I get to understand, I am an observant Jew. And I had been for decades to that point. So it was if the good Lord was saying to me, okay, Mr. Shore, are you going to walk your talk?
Right. Right. Right.
Now, let's be blunt. Anybody who's watching, or if you're listening, you say, wow, look at Barry Shore. He's moving. He's 100%. It's great. It's fabulous. Okay, I'm still paralyzed from the waist down. So
you're still paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah.
But you can swim. And by the way, I want to welcome Cynthia Berman, who was having trouble finding us. She's finally here. So glad to have you back here, Cynthia. Okay. I stopped this whole interview for you, Cynthia, just looking down and texting you just so you could be here. Okay, there you go. All right. Don't feel guilty about it, Cynthia. Do not. Okay.
So the beautiful part of life is that it's life. What does one do with life? When you recognize what life is, life in our lexicon is a great acronym. It stands for living inspirationally for eternity. When you recognize that every breath that you have enables you to be part of this remarkable tapestry called life, and that what you think, what you speak, and what you do actually has an effect on the world, then why would you choose to do anything other than good?
And so
anything other than life
to do good. So let's talk about this for just a minute, Barry. Let's talk about the fact that number one, you have a very, very strong and verbose voice, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm perceiving here is that this was one of the few instruments that you were left with. You can't use your legs. Thank God you can use your arms. You can turn your neck, right? You can use your hands, but your voice was what was left in its original and maybe even stronger value than prior to getting sick. I don't know, you'll tell me. But certainly our voices get deeper and somewhat stronger in that deepness as we age. And you are 75 years old. So you right now are in what I call the prime of your long life era. Right. So people that belong to this group are about to go into their long life era, which starts from at age 50. And the great majority of us in this group are of this age. We're born 1946 to 1964, the baby boomer generation. So did you have a conscious ideal or thought that you now still had an instrument to help with your purpose? And before you answer that, tell me, what did you do for a living prior to age 55?
Okay, so let's talk about that first. I'm happy to tell you
Mhm,
that I am an entrepreneur. I've
mhm.
been an entrepreneur since I was 9 years old.
Okay.
I'm basically what I used to call unemployable.
Most entrepreneurs are unemployable.
Right, right. We build businesses. That's
Yeah.
what I did. And I was extremely successful in two businesses that I sold to public companies. I made a lot of money, and I'm human. I lost a lot of money. I still did very well, but just the nature of life and business. I did things that people marvel at. A simple example, and you wear this beautifully, Marla. You love your jewelry. So I, at one point, was a teacher at a place called the Gemological Institute of America, the GIA, the most famous school of its kind in the world for teaching people about diamonds and jewelry and such. In addition to that, I was a diamond wholesaler, bought and sold more than $100 million worth of diamonds in the course of a couple decades. I met my wife at the GIA. I was deeply involved in the business, wrote a book on the subject, lectured all over the world. It was a great business. I loved it until I decided to retire, then went and finished up at the age of 38, 40, and then decided, what am I going to do now?
Well, I just want to add, your wife is a very smart woman who knew to fall in love with somebody who was in the gem business.
Hello.
And I just want to say to everybody watching, any questions that you have, you're actually, as you're typing, you are coming through loud and clear, so to speak. So if you have any questions at all for Barry, please start typing them in. So, okay, go ahead.
So I was very fortunate. I was in the diamond business, did very well. I went into other businesses, thank God did well. I started a company on the internet at the beginning of the internet 1.0, and in a couple of years sold it to a public company, made a lot of money. Had built another one, we sold to a public company, had 3 issued patents, just wonderful stuff.
So from a financial point of view, you were, yeah, you
We
were
did very
set.
well.
But
And again,
also the answer truly is that you were an entrepreneur and built businesses and so probably from that point of view, you felt that with the gifts that you still had available to you. And I think that's the most important thing is to not focus every day on what's wrong with you, but to
oh, this is
because
so important, Marlo. Of
it's a
course.
rabbit hole that you go down and once you get rid of this pain then your brain will look to find another pain because
Yeah.
the complaining and the whining about what you feel in your body it just never will go away if that's what you're focused on,
So
right?
let's focus on what Marla just said. So if you go to my website, which people should do, go to barryshore.com, BARRYSHORE, barryshore.com. You'll understand that my handle in life is I've been called by international press, a lot of magazines, the ambassador of joy.
Joy.
All right, notice I didn't say the ambassador of joy. It's the ambassador of joy. Now, joy is an amazing acronym, which I'm the king of acronyms. Joy stands for Journey of You.
Journey of you.
So you're right, Marla. What you focus on is what you're going to get. So you
Mhm.
talked about gift. GIFT is an amazing acronym that stands for Godly Inspiration Facilitating Transformation. See, people oftentimes come to me and they love listening to Barry Shaw speak and say, "Oh, Barry is so inspiring." I said, "I'm not here to be inspirational, even though you might be, because we all know what inspiration does. Yeah, yeah, great. And tomorrow morning, now what, right? And it's not even informational. There's a lot of information on the world on the web these days about happiness and joy and stuff like that. But what are you going to do with it? I love to work with the T word, and the T is transformation. The reason I love what you're doing here, Marla, in this group, is because this is the time of life for transformation, using all of these ideas, these gifts, all these things that we've been given, the great amount, even if you're not super wealthy, it doesn't matter. As long as you have been working hard, you have a good work ethic, you have a good cultural ethic, you have
Mhm.
a good outlook on life, and you are aligned, what I call a spiritual chiropractor. I urge everybody to become a spiritual chiropractor. What is that? You all know what a chiropractor is, right, Marla? You go in, you're a little aching pain, all of a sudden the chiropractor goes, you're aligned. What I like to talk to people about is you want to align your thoughts in good, your speech in good, and your deeds in good. When you are spiritually aligned, your thoughts, your words, and your deed in good, guess what happens? The wine that you're going to have is WINE, not WHIN,
HINE, yeah,
right?
exactly.
I love people who love wine. That's what wine everyone's focus on what it is that you are and who you want to be.
Right.
Everything else away. So you mentioned,
Don't let your body be your mind.
oh, come on. Remember, let's take an amazing idea, which all of us know because we're in this latter life.
Hmm.
We are a soul encased in a body.
We're a soul. Well, right. We are not a
Not a
physical,
body
right.
that
We're not a physical being having a spiritual journey. We're a spiritual being having a physical journey.
so this goes all the way back also to laying on the gurney and being completely out. I'm just protoplasm. Now I got it. It's really important for me to make this statement I'm about to make.
Okay.
If there is a hero in the story of Barry Shore, it's not Barry Shore,
It's Barry Shore's wife.
Naomi.
Of
Now, at the
course.
time when I became paralyzed overnight, we had been married 1977, so we were married 27 years. Now, thank God we're married 47 years. And there are many people who told me, it's amazing you're still married. How can anybody, first of all, how can they put up with you? Meaning, okay, but going
They
through,
say that about me too, I got to tell you.
that's a compliment. But going through paralysis and the things that she had to do to take care of me. And we have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. It first of all, the pressures of running a life
Mhm.
that I used to run, and now I'm not there to run anymore. She needs
Right.
all those things, how to take care of all this. What do you have? What's the insurance? What's going on? What's it? But that's all the paperwork. What she did mentally, physically, and spiritually. I was in the hospital again, 144 days. I can tell you something. I had zero in 145 days. I had zero hospital meals.
Oh,
Why? Because my
she
wife
made them.
insisted
Yeah,
that she made every meal and brought it to the hospital.
that's
Now, most of
wonderful.
the time she brought it. Sometimes every once in a while couldn't, things were going on, so friends she would bring it. I never had a hospital meal.
That's wonderful.
140 days, that's, and many stories. I'll tell one right now because
That might have contributed to you not getting worse.
yeah, let's lay one word. It's not Mike. I told you, the hero of the story is not Barry Shore. And it's
It's
not just
Naomi.
Naomi. It's that, thank God, marriage is in of itself a test of life. Let's be blunt. Hello. In today's world, we hear too often that people get divorced for whatever reason. Sometimes because they don't even know why they get divorced. 10 years of marriage, 25 years, 35. I hear stories all the time. It's a test, right? The true essence of life is a test. Tests are good. We like that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us mad. You want to make a difference in this world? You want to really be somebody? The ability to work with another human being, in this case, my wife, it brings tears to my eyes just thinking about it. But I got to tell you a story that is true, or else I couldn't tell it. So in the hospital, and again, when you're paralyzed, nobody should ever know from these things. You have to be in a special hospital bed because one of the most terrible things to be in a hospital is it's a place you get sick. That's what hospitals do. They make you sick. They don't make you better. They want to get you also. Bed sores are an important difficulty in hospitals. You hear that? So I had
Yeah.
to have a special air mattress, very expensive, by the way, over $20,000. And the insurance company didn't want to pay for it until my doctor said, if you didn't give this guy this special hospital bed, he was going to go to the newspapers and tell them how the insurance company was not okay. Anyway, got the special hospital bed. In the hospital, they had something called a turning team because I can't move, and they don't want you just being in one position. So throughout the night, every 6 hours. They would come in, two people with belts around and burly people, and say, "Hi, Mr. Short. Okay, you get to choose which side do you want to start on, right or left." And these two people would pick me up and turn me either right or left. And then a few hours later, they come back and turn me on the other side. I felt like on, rotisserie and such. At least I got to move.
I think about that. I used to be the hostess of the Muscular Dystrophy Association, the MDA telethon that Jerry Lewis used to do
Yes.
many years. And actually those children that are, have muscular dystrophy, turning them at night was one of the biggest issues. And I remember hearing that. But I mean, I guess maybe for children it's a shorter time frame, but you're talking every 2 to 3 hours. And I've always thought about that, like in my own sleep, I turn
Yes. Hello.
frequently. I mean, even though I'm a face down belly sleeper, I get that from my mother. But because I have this philosophy that genetically we're predetermined to sleep in a position and that it's a genetic thing, not a choice. But anyway, but I frequently, are turning and doing everything out in like what, maybe every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes. That's a lot. So I mean, I'm so sorry. This is such a serious topic, but I just wanted to interject that 6 hours seems like too long to me that you had to wait.
So,
but maybe you couldn't feel the difference.
no, I was just being happy. Somebody came in and talked to me and they turned me. It was wonderful. So here's the reason I mentioned is because that's happened in the hospital. So now we go home and we needed to hire people at home. I won't tell you the whole story with it, but suffice it to say that my wife didn't want people staying overnight in the house, especially a guy. We ended up hiring a man. She didn't want them. We had ladies, but they both came in and said yes, and they quit the day before they were supposed to go home. So we had this wonderful fellow, who, by the way, I just mentioned parenthetically right now, this amazing man was with us the day I got to the hospital, which was January 13th, 2005. And he's been with us ever since.
That's wonderful.
It's amazing. That's 20 years.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Okay, so now we're at home and he's not there at night. And now what are you going to do? I'm just protoplasm. I have the special mattress that the hospital gave us because they can't use it anymore, all kinds of things. And now what's going to happen? I have to be turned. So the famous story about a car falling on a kid and then the grandmother picks up the car and my wife, I said, "What am I going to do, honey?" She said, "I'll turn you." And my wife, just so you know, is all of 97 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
My wife comes from Thailand. She's small.
Oh, wow.
500 Jews in Thailand. I got one.
Oh, good for
It's
you.
nice. By the way, that's a whole story in and of itself.
We'll do that another day.
Another time. 97 now. Even, by the way, when I went into the hospital, the day I was paralyzed, I weighed 195. By the time I came home, 144 days later, I was 137.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Now, still, I'm 6 feet, 137 pounds, and she's 97. You don't just pick somebody up and turn them. And she said, "I'll turn you." She set her clock every 4 hours. She would get up. I don't know how she did it. She picked me up somehow and turned me.
And for how long did that go on?
Night in, night out, week in, week out, month in and month out.
For how? 2 years. I mean, it's just a blessing. It's just a blessing that, she has the temperament and that she was not worried about self, that she felt this as the mission, as for better or for worse. Like there's no guarantees in life, right?
Right.
It just is what it is. And it's amazing. That's a beautiful story.
Yes.
That's a yay for Naomi. That's wonderful.
So we're talking about joy.
Yeah.
I feel, I cry when I tell the story because
Yeah.
It's me. She did, and she still does it. It's my wife.
Yeah. Well, and the blessings that she was giving, the karma that is created by that for her is, you have to always sort of look at that. For as much as, these things are hard to do. And I'm sure it wasn't easy. I hope you sent her for a massage at least once a week. And a big diamond.
Yes, well, there's so many things I'm going to tell you one more story because it's,
Well, before you
yeah,
do, let me just ask you a question. I wanted to talk to you about the swimming thing because I know that you now swim, correct?
I now swim.
And that is a very big and important part of your, is it a daily routine that you do?
Okay, so let me tell you again, talk about blessing. Remember, good-looking people are always looking for the good and
Looking for the
finding
good
it. You
and
see, when you
finding it.
look for the good, you'll find it.
Hmm.
Look for the good, you'll find it.
Right.
Living proof. So one day after I was brought home, my assistant, his name is Stephen, by the way, Stephen Senfuka. He comes from Uganda.
Hmm.
And there's a story that goes on. So he brings me outside. Uh, I had three different wheelchairs, and I'll tell you the wheelchair story in just a moment. But anyway, bundles me up, puts me in a wheelchair, takes me outside, and we live in this beautiful little cul-de-sac, tree-lined street in Venice Beach, California. And when we're out on the street, so one of my neighbors comes over to me and says, I heard what happened. I have great news for you. I will have you up out of that chair and walking within a year. Now, again, just as a backdrop, the doctors are, they have permission to heal. They may not be great in human relations. So three doctors who said goodbye to me the day I was leaving the hospital said, and Mr. Shore, you know, you're never going to walk again. You probably won't be able to move this and this is. And
Oh,
however,
nice.
the things that we can do to help you and make your life fine.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you
So
something.
nice of them to care so much.
Thank you, Marla. I got to tell you something. It's not that I said to the doctors, you don't know what you're talking about. I'll be up there. I just listened. Inside me, I just said, thank you very much. We'll see
No
what happens.
thanks.
Okay. So anyway, outside now, and Vince, his name is Vince Newman, comes running over and says, I'll have you up out of the chair in a year. I don't mind. People can tell me all kinds of good news. I love things. He said, because I am America's greatest aquatic therapist. What is
Oh,
an aquatic therapist? It means you put you in the pool and they do therapy with you. Now, I got to tell you, people in my situation, gravity is not good for us. Because when you fall down, and I've fallen down many times in the past 20 years, it hurts.
yeah.
I have not, thank God, ever broken anything, but I've twisted a lot of ankles and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so he says, I'm America's greatest aquatic therapist. Now, I believe people when they tell me these things. If you tell me you're the greatest, I'll believe you. Why not? Nobody will go around saying that if not. Okay, I'm going to make the story fast because it's so much fun. It's great. Say, we're going to get you in the water. So I'll just recount the fact that this country is a country of great kindness. And any kind of public pool or accessible pool, whether it's a YMCA or a place you pay to go to gym and things like that, they have things called Hoyer lifts. Now, a Hoyer lift, anybody who knows something about people in my situation, it's a particular thing that's used to pull somebody up out of a bed and move them around, and it's portable and things like that. So they have them at the pools. And they were able to, my assistant, get me in and out of the car with certain devices and drive me to the place, put me in this Hoyer lift, get me in the water. And then Vince would have people working with me. They put flotation devices in my belly and my arms, my legs, and moving me around. We did this 2-3 times a week for years. Okay, they're moving me. Nothing's moving, but they're moving me. One day, Marla, I moved my arms over my head.
Oh.
I moved my arms over my head. I moved my right arm. I moved my left arm. And I did it 3 times. I actually did a backstroke. I hit my head against the side of the pool and it hurt. And I said, yay. Because I said, I moved,
Right.
turned myself around and I pushed. I have no feeling, but I did something. I told them, don't touch me. Just let me swim. I didn't stop for 98 minutes.
Oh my.
They had people standing at the side of applaud, and I loved it.
Were you able to kick your feet at all, or was this all
No,
upper body? Just
it
the
was
upper
just yeah,
body.
it was arms. It didn't matter. It was
Yeah.
just something.
Yeah.
And again, people hugging. Vince said,
But
just
but can you use your legs now in the water?
So let me tell you, fast forward. So I said,
Yeah.
if I can do it once, I'll do it again. Basically, I swim a mile without stopping. I said, if I can do it once, do it again. So I did it the next week. I did it again. and then I would do it twice a week, and then 3 times a week, then 4 times. I'm perseverant, I'm positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Nothing's going to stop me, right? Again, I'm still paralyzed and home. I just can't move. But get me in the water. I'm doing my backstroke. After a couple of years, I learned a particular way of swimming. It was just so wonderful. I was surrounded by such good people. We were swimming now in Santa Monica, a beautiful outdoor place, Santa Monica, California, just amazing. And now I'm these days, I now swim on my tummy. I do a crawl. I have to wear paddles on my hands because my hands don't close, right? So I use a snorkel, and I still wear flotation devices on my legs so they don't sink and I drown. However, I now swim 2 miles a day,
Uh-huh.
6 days a week. I've been doing that for 15 years, and we're now in July 5th of this year, 2024. As of May 27th, I swim mile number 9,601.
Oh, that's amazing. Ah, Mazel tov, that's
I
great.
write down every half mile, mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, and I keep doing it.
So
Now,
let me ask you, these flotation devices on your legs, do they force you in a certain position, or do
they
you?
keep me in position so they don't sink. So I can actually move the leg. What I can't do is what most people do. I can't move my feet or anything like that.
Gotcha.
But that's
Okay.
okay. But
That's okay.
if you saw me swim, you'd look and say, he's swimming. I swim. Look at the
Right.
tan I have if you're watching. I have a great tan.
Right.
Here we live in Henderson, Nevada. We have an amazing place called the Multi-Generational Aquatic Center. It's one of the cleanest places I've ever been to. They have a special lift. They get me in and out of the water. Everybody takes care of me. They love it when I come there. And again, I swim now 2 miles. Takes me 100 minutes. I swim without stopping. And
That's great.
I
And were you a swimmer before the accident,
never,
or whatever? It really wasn't an accident, but before
I
the
knew how to
event.
swim, but I never, before, before I was paralyzed, I
Mhm.
was very healthy. I would run, I would bicycle, I went to the gym. I, I weighed 195 pounds. I was big, but no, I knew how to swim, but I didn't like swimming. It was too much effort. Now I got to tell you, swimming with a snorkel, it's a whole other world. I don't, first of all, it's hard for me to change, to move my head and things like that. I
Mhm.
don't have to. And I have a waterproof MP3 player.
Oh,
Look
that's
at Bubby here.
amazing.
You should have seen your eyes open up. So I am listening to upbeat music,
Uh,
to lectures, to my own voice. I make my own stories about doing well and my mission. So let me tell you quickly about the mission, because again, it has to do with my wife. By the way, I made a video when I hit number 9,601. And when I make my little videos, about 55 seconds, they go viral around the world. Thousands of people watch it, thank God. I tell people, I don't make these videos because I'm telling you because I can swim. I do it for all the people in the world who say, I can't. I can't. Yes, you can. Let me tell you, before we tell you another story, let me tell you about this idea of retire. Because
yes,
people get to
because
the age, yes,
and I want to get to that. But before you do, I want to just share something with you about uh, what you're going to talk about. So one of the primary focuses of the group is living, loving, and being, and recognizing that you could have 50 years or more to live once you embark into your long life era, which starts at age 50. And we put together what's called the long life mindset. And you can find it at longlifemindset.com. And we encourage everybody to embrace it by going there and adding your name to a list of what we hope to be 120,000 very soon. But this is the long life mindset, and address this as you're going through what you're talking about, because you know our midlife crisis usually begins at the U curve of happiness down here at the bottom of the U, which is from ages usually 44 to age 52 is that midlife crisis. And midlife is the shortest era of our lives. Once we hit that crisis, we bottom out and we realize that being happy is very important to us. right? Some of us married for reasons that made others happy rather than ourselves, took jobs that made others happy rather than ourselves. And at that crisis moment, we're like, wait a minute, I can't do this anymore. I have to be happy. Now, what happens is within that crisis, it could take maybe 7 or 8 years to recover from whatever choice you made to get out of the crisis or to clean up the crisis that was created during that midlife moment. And then you wake up one day and you're 59, almost 60. And then instead of looking forward and saying, I have 40 more years to live, to make a difference, to change, to do something, you maybe look at that and go, it's over. I didn't do what I wanted to do in my life and I'm a failure. And you start to feel bad about yourself, right? So this is what the long life mindset is meant to help keep you moving happy, healthy, and forward, which is, it says, I recognize that living a healthy, long life to 100 years and beyond is, first of all, entirely possible. I embrace becoming a centenarian is part art, which is the mental attitude, and part science, meaning how you take care of your body. I believe that from this point forward, I am the artist and scientist of my own long life destiny. So this is our, I don't know what you call it. This is our song, our mantra, I guess, the long one though. And I encourage everybody, we have so many new members in the group. Dodger just woke up, so I'm going to move him over here by us. That I encourage everybody to, we have so many new people in the group, to embrace the mindset at longlifemindset.com. And because what Barry's going to talk about is what happens when you retire. And there's good, beautiful, wonderful information in that discussion that he's about to have with us. So Barry, take it away.
Woo! First of all, to amplify wonderful Marla, longlifemindset.com. Please be involved because the life you save may be your own.
Yes, the life you save may be your own, and you want to. You are worthy of life. You are worthy of life, or you would not be here now.
And you want to be tuning in. See, this show is not about Barry Shore, nice guy that he is, or Marla, beautiful, amazing woman that she is. It's about you. YOU. You becoming the best you. Because when you're the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. So let's talk about this idea of retire. Because I hear people talk about it when they get to the age of plus minus 70, whatever that is, retire. So people think they know what retire is. I'd like to give you Barry Shore's definition of retire.
Go for it.
Everybody here, I believe, has heard of the Indianapolis 500, right? You know that speedway where cars go, and when every so often they have to come to the pit, right? And what are they going to do? Within 12 seconds, what happens? The car goes up and goes, tires come off, new tires go on, and bam! That's called retire. You just got a new set of missions. You're now on the track.
I like that. You made a pit stop, took a breath, took a drink of water, and you retired.
New Michelins, and you're out there on the track again.
That's it.
Everybody, in my humble opinion, lives in 4 ages at the same time. You have your chronological age,
right?
Your metabolic age,
yeah.
Your mental acuity, and you have your SOW. So let's talk about it. Metabolic age is what it is. In my case, 75. Okay, I love it. By the way, my 100.
Isn't that your chronological age, 75?
Chronological.
Okay, you said metabolic.
Yeah, next one is metabolic.
Okay, so what?
I'm 75 chronologically.
Right.
And by the way, my centenarian action is at the age of 100, I will swim 1 mile on my 100th birthday.
Okay.
Do it. So my metabolic, my chronological age is 75. My metabolic age is 46 because I swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. Hello.
Okay. Hello.
And my mental acuity is 28 because I work with a lot of people on the internet who are somewhere between 21 and 30. And I play with them and I do as well and sometimes even better mental acuity. But here's the real key.
How'd you measure that?
Oh, because I can actually speak the same language and understand what they're saying. They understand me.
I gotcha.
Hey,
Okay.
by the way, thank you for asking that question because when people use terms like, well, what's the UCG or the UX or the UI, and now everybody's throwing around AI and things like that. When you learn the new
Language, yeah.
and you're not just spouting the phrases, but you actually
Mhm.
understand and you start. One of the
Mhm.
benefits of being older is
Mhm.
that you're smarter.
Mhm.
I can learn more in 10 minutes than some people can learn in 2 hours.
And faster in some
Yeah,
cases because you
I'd love,
actually have the intuition
yes.
to under from other experiences to help you get there faster.
And this,
I mean, honestly, can I just tell you, I just have to bring this up just because everybody in this group has heard me drone on and on and on about how Facebook on April 22nd, 2024 changed the protocols to connect a streaming service like Zoom into a private group. Now, if we were a public group, there it would have stayed the same, but because it's a private group, there's this whole back end programming that I had to go through, and I suffered through it, but I had to get back to doing these interviews because people love them and they're very important. And honestly, for as frustrated as I was, and for the first 2 or 3 times that I did it, it actually aged me. It aged me. It did. I walked out of this office and I just was just shaking. I just could not understand why I could not connect. And then I figured it out because I'm so damn determined. Like I was going to do it. And when I did, actually, I became 10 years younger. I kid you not. I mean, and did you see how quickly I connected today with you? I did it
yes.
pretty fast. So
And,
I
and at
actually
the
feel
time,
younger.
and at the time when we spoke about it earlier this week, and you told me what you had suffered through, and I said, Marla, I'm amazed. First of all, that's one of the reasons I have a team. I don't have to do some of those things. But yes, uh, that's the genius of doing things and being the ability to be persistent. Now, the fourth age, I told you, everybody has 4 ages. You have chronological, metabolic, mental, and the most important, in my humble opinion, is your SOW,
Oh, yeah. What is that?
sense of wonder.
Correct.
I'm an 8-year-old.
Yes.
And you want to keep it somewhere between 6 and 9. See,
Yeah.
below 6, kids are you can't really, they're still learning. And when you get past 9 and double digits, the system comes in and squashes. But between 6 and 9, everything is magical and wonderful and mystical. I love it. What does this mean? And this and such and better. Whoa!
Which is why people travel, because when they go to places that they haven't been before, it increases that magical sense of wonderment that they remember feeling when they were 14 now, or when they were 9, or when they were 8. I know you said don't go above the age of 9, but I just had a magical trip, and my heart reminded me of when I was 14 and went to Chicago and New York for the very first time. It was the first time I ever left Las Vegas, except for when we go to California. But anyway, that's a wonderful thing, that sense of wonderment. And that sense of wonderment increases your odds of living to 100 years or more, which is what this group is designed to help you get to.
So let's have a lot of fun. You said odds, ODDS.
Okay, we've got an
When
acronym
I
for
when
that.
I when I heard it, it increases your sense of awes. OWAW.
WWS.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
want
that's
your
right.
awes.
Yep.
You want, wow, that's so wonderful. And well, I won't go into it at the moment, but the SOW is so important. That's how I want everybody to remember how to retire.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get that new set of missions that
This,
can happen whenever you want.
yes.
That's
And
the genius of life.
and I want to thank everybody that's been a part of this group. We have over 500 members now in just a year. And we're in our second year now. And I really being able to express to the group the mental deficit I was feeling when I turned 70. Um, they're embracing and also telling their stories actually has retired me, and which I then hope to put back in. Like I looked for inspiration and evidence and wonderment to bring back within the group so that they can continue to feel that positivity and the knowledge that they too can get there. So with that, I would say, Barry Shore, I love having you. We'd love to have you back. You are in the prime of your long life era. I don't want Zoom to cut us off, so I just want to, end slightly before that could possibly happen, because it did happen a while ago. Maybe Zoom changed that. It didn't used to happen, but it did. I just wonder if you have any last words. I want to give you the open mic to have the last word.
Yes, may I want to do last words and then do a big hug with everybody and a blessing. Last words are the following. I urge everybody to consider the 6 most important words you'll ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life. And these are: choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will not only show you the path of life, but the trajectory. And I'd like to, if I
And
may,
you have a choice about how you tell your story.
right?
And I think that actually, I'm going through an exercise right now as to I am actually reframing my story, because I feel like there's things in my story that I've believed that are really not serving me. So I've decided to curate a new story for myself, because I think it's going to help the next 40 years of my life.
It will. And that's a beautiful segue into something I was going to offer everybody. If you go to my website, barryshore.com, Barry.
But first, go to longlifemindset.com.
Yeah. I was privileged to publish 3 books last year and 1 book this year. And there you can get a copy of any one of the books, absolutely no cost. It's as the ebook. You want to get a physical, you have to pay, but an ebook, you can get it and use it. But the one I just published this year, just last month, is called Reframing: The Art of Living.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's
Great.
what you just said. So if we're going to leave on a very high note,
Reframe and retire.
yes, isn't that wonderful? And
Yeah.
choose how you choose. So let's do a group hug. Let me tell you what HUG stands for:
Okay.
heartfelt, unlimited giving. And then we'll do a
Okay.
blessing.
I'm gonna.
Heartfelt, unlimited giving. 1, 2, 3.
I'm hugging Dodger here.
And our blessing from Barry and Marla is: go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad, go make a difference.
There you go. Thank you so much, Barry. Thank you all for joining us, and for all those of you who watched the interview after, post it in the group. We appreciate everything, and go out and spread love like butter.